The recording. All right, let's start off algebra 1 and then work it up to algebra 2. So if I have x over 2 minus 1 over 6 is actually, let's do mid-level algebra 1. Let's not do basic algebra 1. All right. Let's do mid-level algebra 1. So the quantity of x minus 2 over 6 plus 3x over 8 minus 3x plus 8 over 24 is equal to 1. Still algebra 1, maybe a little bit harder algebra 1, but still algebra 1. All right, how does this differ from all the problems we were doing last unit, David? It's actually equal to something. There's actually an equation. So when you're dealing with fractional equations, what we want to do is we don't want to deal with the denominator at all. We want to eliminate the denominator. How do we eliminate a denominator? Multiply everything by what would be the common denominator. So looking at 6, 8, and 24, what would be the common denominator? 24. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to multiply every single term by 24. So 24 times the quantity of x minus 2 over 6 plus 24 times 3x over 8 minus 24 times 3x plus 8 over 24. Do I have to multiply the 1 by 24 also? Yes, both sides. So times 24 times 1, or equals 24 times 1. So now we cross simplify. 6 goes into 24 4 times. 8 goes into 24 3 times, and 24 goes into 24 1 time. So now I have 4 times the quantity of x minus 2. I need to distribute that in. So when we distribute it in, we're going to get 4x minus 8. 3 times 3x is 9x. Now, a lot of you were messing this up on the test that we just took. When you have a minus sign and then you have a binomial, what must you do? You need to distribute in that negative. If you have a minus sign and then a binomial, you need to distribute in that negative to it all. So this is a minus 3x and a minus 8 equals 24. Let's combine our like terms. 4x, 9x, negative 3x gives us a 10x. Negative 8 and a negative 8 gives us a negative 16 equals 24. So now we're going to get 10x equals 40 and x will equal 4. Did we mess up algebra 1?
Yes.
Let's go. Let's go. We did algebra 1 in my algebra 2 honors class. All right, let's keep going here. So now let's look at, can we step it up to algebra 2? All right, so now let's step it up to algebra 2. If I have a 2x minus 9 over x minus 7 plus x over 2 equals 5 over x minus 7. Now, what is the difference between algebra 1 and algebra 2? What have I done? I've now put variables in the denominator. Do you think the process is going to be any different? The process is not going to be any different. In our denominators, if there were denominators we could factor, we should factor. If there were denominators that we can factor, we should factor first. Are there any denominators that we can factor? No. So now we would choose what would be our common denominator if we were creating a common denominator. Wouldn't it be 2 times the quantity of x minus 7? So everything gets multiplied by that would-be common denominator. So we're going to have 2 times the quantity of x minus 7 times 2x minus 9 over x minus 7 plus 2 times the quantity of x minus 7 times x over 2 equals 2 times the quantity of x minus 7 times 5 over x minus 7. Now your end game here with all of these equations is to cancel out the denominator. So x minus 7 cancels. The 2 and the 2 cancel. The x minus 7 and the x minus 7 cancel. So now I'm going to have 2 times the quantity of 2x minus 9. I need to distribute in that too. So we are going to be 4x minus 18 plus, now we have the quantity of x minus 7 times x. This time I'm distributing in that x, right? So it's going to become x squared minus 7x. And lastly, I have 2 times 5, which is 10. What does it look like we're... Dylan, what's the problem? What's the problem? Okay. Hey, this looks like something we're going to have to do what to? Factor. In order to factor, do we agree we need it in descending order and we need it set equal to 0? So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to have x squared minus 3x minus 18 equals 10, and then I will subtract that 10. X squared minus 3x minus 28 is equal to 0. Now we factor. Easy peasy. Factoring x minus 7, x plus 4. So now we get x is equal to 7 and x is equal to negative 4. You're not done. I'm going to put a star here. Anytime there's variables in the denominator, you need to check for what's called extraneous solutions, meaning solutions that don't fit in the domain of the original problem, meaning it can create undefined fractions. If I were to put a 7 in here, wouldn't 7 minus 7 be 0? Is that allowed to have a 0 in the denominator? No. So we have to reject the 7. That's considered an extraneous solution. It's a solution that doesn't fit the domain because it makes the problem undefined. So here I'm going to reject the 7. So my star is check for extraneous solutions. Check for extraneous solutions. So the x equals 7 gets rejected, so our only solution here is x equals negative 4 because that doesn't create any denominators of 0. All right, next one. So 5 over 2y plus 6 minus 2y minus 4 over y squared minus y minus 12 equals 3 over y minus 4. I want us to solve for y. We agree this is an equation, right? When we're dealing with fractional equations, what is our end game, or our mid game? I should say, it's not our end goal, but our mid game is to eliminate the denominator. How do we eliminate the denominator? We multiply by what would be the common denominator. Before we decide what would be the common denominator, what am I going to ask you to do to all the denominators? Factor, exactly. We're going to factor all of the denominators. So in the first fraction, can I pull out a 2? So we're 2 times the quantity of y plus 3. In the second denominator, can I factor this? Yes, this is a y minus 4 and a y plus 3. And the last one stays as it is, y minus 4. So what would we be multiplying by here? You got it. Basically, all the denominators put together, a 2, a y plus 3, and a y minus 4. We got 2, y plus 3, y minus 4, times 5 over 2 times the quantity of y plus 3. Then we have a minus sign. I'm going to multiply again, 2 times the quantity of y plus 3 times the quantity of y minus 4 times 2y minus 4 over y minus 4, y plus 3. And lastly, we're going to multiply that whole same thing again, 2 times the quantity of y plus 3 times y minus 4 times 3 over y minus 4. So now we're going to cross cancel to simplify, to get rid of those denominators. The first one, the 2's cancel. What else cancels? What else cancels? Good, the y plus 3's cancel. So I'm left with, I'm going to distribute in that 5y minus 20. All right, the second one, doesn't that whole y minus 4, y plus 3 cancel out with the y minus 4, y plus 3? But now what am I distributing in? What number? 2? Negative 2, a negative 2. So this is a negative 4y and a positive 8. And this last one, just the y minus 4 cancels. So do you guys agree this is going to be 6 times y plus 3? Because it's a 2, a y plus 3, and then another 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. So we are 5y minus 20 minus 4y plus 8 equals 6y plus 18. All right. Solve for y. I'm going to combine my like terms. So on the left side, I have 5y minus 4y is going to be y minus 12 equals 6y plus 18. I don't think it really matters. Subtract that 6y. I'll have a negative 5y equals a positive 30. So y will equal negative 6. What do we have to do now? We have to check for extraneous solutions. So with x being negative 6, does that, and I'd go into the factored form. I wouldn't go back to the original. The factor's the easiest. By me plugging in negative 6 here, does it make any of the denominators 0? No. So we're good to go. How am I doing on time? All right. Let's talk about proportions. All right. How is this different looking from the other problem the other ones we've just been doing? Good. There's only one term on each side. Do we all recognize this as a proportion? It's one fraction equaling another fraction. So we can go about this the same way we've been doing and say, okay, well, the common denominator would be quantity of x plus 1 times quantity of x minus 4, and then multiply. Or when you have a fraction equaling another fraction, what are we allowed to do? Cross multiply. Thank you. So let's go ahead and cross multiply. Hi. And when you cross multiply, you're going to get 3 times the quantity of x minus 4 equals 2 times the quantity of x plus 1. Let's distribute this in. So we are 3x minus 12 equals 2x plus 2. And then we solve, so we're going to get x is equal to 14. There's no extraneous solution there. We are done with that. All right, we'll do one more and then we'll call it a day. 2 over 15x equals 6 over 5x. Is this a proportion? Is this a proportion? Yeah, it is a proportion. What are we allowed to do with proportions? Cross multiply. So let's go ahead and cross multiply. What's 2x times 5x? 10x squared. Don't forget your squared. 10x squared equals 90. And now I think a lot of people, which I'm fine with, you divide by 10 here, and then you get x squared equals 9. But then what must you, because a lot of students just want to answer at this point, which I'm fine with, but what must you remember? Plus minus. Anytime you take a square root, it becomes a plus or minus. So this would be x equals plus or minus 3. If you can't remember that, what should you do? You should factor, subtract, and do a dot. X squared minus 9 equals 0. Anytime you have an x squared, you could just turn it into factoring if you want. So then you don't forget a solution. X plus 3, x minus 3 equals 0. X equals plus or minus 3. No extraneous solutions there, so we are fine. All right, we are going to stop here.